Todd, next up we're going to talk about is a lot of folks are misunderstood what Medicare will cover. Correct?
Very much so.
Now, Medicare, it does not cover a couple entities. So Medicare, for folks who are on Medicare, you're going to need to know this. And if you're not on Medicare, you know somebody on Medicare, you need to tell them this. Medicare will not cover long-term care. What else does Medicare not cover?
Oh, there's several things. Dental eyeglasses. But I tell you one thing that is probably the biggest misconception is home health care. Back in the day, I've been doing this 31 years. Back in the day, it did. It was never a question. But as that market has expanded, because it used to also be you had to live in like Lincoln or Omaha to find a home care person. Now you can live just about anywhere in the state and still get help. Ryan, are there policies now, since Medicare won't cover that? Are there policies that will?
It's a weird thing you asked that, Todd. There is. There's some really good ones actually out there that we actually help people with. There's a couple favorite ones that I'm not going to name any companies, but we actually work with some really good policies that actually do provide some really good care for people in the home.
Now, for folks wondering, what exactly is home health? Some people have a preconceived notion that it's someone comes in, takes care of you around the clock at your own home. Is that what home health is?
There's different types. To be honest with you, Jay, there's anywhere from a full-blown nurse coming in, a physical therapist, occupational therapist, and even just the other side of things, like just a certified nursing aide, which a person can just go to SEC and take an 8-hour class to be certified to be able to do that. That type of care is just primarily, maybe helping them go from the chair to the toilet, or, cooking them some meals or doing their laundry, things like that. So it all kind of depends on what type of care they actually really need.
How many people over 65 do you think would need home health at some point in their life?
There's some statistics out there that it says about 7 out of 10 people, or 70% of people, will actually need some sort of long-term care at some point in their lives. Now that's either being a nursing home or at a strictly home health care or even hospice care.
So it's not a matter of if, it's when.
It would be correct. Yep.
Okay. Now, a lot of folks we run into, I'd say maybe 15-20% of long-term care policies, which they absolutely love. What is the benefit of so when you're going through a long-term care policy, right? What are you looking for when you go through one of those?
Since I've been doing this for a while, and Todd can relate to this, the long-term care policies aren't as good as they used to be. If they are, they're super expensive. And there's a few things that I really look for when I'm starting to review these long-term care policies with people. One is what is the daily benefit? The elimination period is also important. Does a person have to pay out of their pocket for like the first 90 days, or is it 180 days? I mean, if you're talking about a nursing home at $8,000 a month, 180 days, that's a good chunk of change.
Now,
there.
For the less intelligent like myself, what is elimination period?
Perfect. So the elimination period, when it comes to a long-term care policy, for example, if somebody would, like say John Smith was in the nursing home, he would have to actually pay out of pocket the first either 90 days out of his own pocket, or the first 180 days, depending on their policy and what it says. Actually,
so 25 or 50 grand out of his pocket before he's planning.
At least, yeah, wow. At least.
Wow. So how does one of these home health policies we talk about, right? If they don't want to go to nursing home, they want to stay at home. But if they do have a long-term care policy, why is home health beneficial to them if they already have a policy?
Well, a lot of the times they can actually do one of two things. They can use it as a filler to fill that gap, that elimination period, because if they start receiving home health care, they can also make claim on that long-term care policy and start eliminating that gap, but also providing care with them inside the home.
Okay, so you're saying that the folks that do have a long-term care policy, if they have that 90 or 120-day elimination period, they can take a home health policy and go ahead and get that taken care of. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically make claim on their long-term care policy also, and start eliminating some of that elimination period that they might have.
So the home health policies that you like to help people with, correct? Mm-hmm. What is the benefit? What is the amount that they would receive for home health?
So typically, there's a couple different pools of money that we can offer, anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 in a benefit. Typically, they are what they call a short-term care policy. So and what they mean by that is 360 days or less. So it is not to keep a person out of the nursing home; is to fill that gap, or to give the family some time to figure out what to do next.
Now, why is it important for somebody who has one of these home health policies for their family members? What will that do? So you're going to go see John Smith, right? Mm-hmm. You're John Smith's son. John Smith needs to be showered. He needs to be fed. He needs to be dressed. Why is one of these home health policies we're talking about? Why is that beneficial for that?
Great question, Jay. So these policies, they're meant to help the family members. So a lot of the family members, when their parents are getting to that elderly age, they're still working full time. So, and it's kind of hard to say, but it's a situation where the family members are actually having to do a lot of the stuff that they don't want to do, like change, help them change their clothes, help them go to the bathroom, things like that, give them a bath. Those things are hard for a person to be able to do for their own parent.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Excellent point. Now, you were talking about how expensive long-term care policies. What's a long-term care policy you run monthly, roughly?
That kind of really kind of determines on age, also health, things like that. You can pay, depending on how old you are, anywhere from $300 a month all the way up to $800 a month, depending on the plan and your age.
And so one of these home health policies, what does that run in a month?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because people are afraid of how much. People don't like their long-term care policies because the first thing they say is, I'm paying way too much. So I don't even want to hear about our home health because I can imagine it's going to be twice as much. Is that true?
Not even close. It's a fraction of the cost. We're seeing a lot of these long-term care or home health care policies running anywhere from 25 to, depending on the age, 25 to 50, $80 a month. So they're really affordable.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking anywhere from a third to a tenth of the cost, even.
That is exactly correct. Yep.
Now you guys know me as a numbers geek, correct? I do my numbers,
anyway.
unfortunately.
Geek, yeah, I got that part.
Do you know what home health cost in Lincoln?
So Mutual of Omaha actually did a study about 3 years ago, and I've used this statistic for the last couple of years. But they did a statistic on the cost of assisted living in a home, or assisted living on a person going to assisted living in a nursing home, and also home health care. So they said for an average assisted living home or care here in the state of Nebraska is about $34,000 to $40,000. Nursing homes anywhere between $72,000 to $84,000 per year, and then home health care is anywhere between $50,000 to $60,000.
Yep. Wow.
So
So a $45 policy that gives you $100,000 of coverage might be what some people need to be thinking about, especially if they think that Medicare is going to cover it, and then when they need it, they have nothing.
That is correct. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. One thing too we found, Jay, is these type of plans keep a lot of couples together. You think about it, and we're all in fair shape here, and Harrison's the youngest among us. But if I was laid out on the floor here, Harrison, I don't know if you could just deadlift me up, much less somebody, not that I'm a huge guy, but I am getting weight, but but think about that. Now you're a 78-year-old woman and her 200-pound husband's laying on the floor. What is she going to do?
Actually, I was just talking to a client about that yesterday. He had a buddy of his was doing something like repairing a light bulb in the trunk of his car, and he got stuck in the trunk. And his friend, which is about 80 years old, had to pull him out of there, and it was not the easiest thing to do by any means. So I don't know if that constitutes as home health care or not, but
I guess if the doctor designates that, is blatant stupidity covered on the?
Yeah, right.
Now, Todd, people want to know about ADLs. You hear the word all the time, right? You hear RMDs in the Medicare world. You hear ADLs. What are ADLs?
Activities of daily living: eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring to and from a better chair. And what's ironic is those are the things that typically do cause someone to leave their home. They just simply in and out of the bed or in and out of the tub. So again, if we can give them a policy that pays for a professional to come in and do that, maybe they just come in the morning, help them get up, help them get dressed. They come in at night, give them a bath, put them to bed, but they get to stay home the other 22 hours of the day.
Yep.
That's really is a beautiful thing.
That is. Now, Ryan, another aspect of home health, like you alluded to, is physical therapy. So, Joan Smith gets a new knee. She needs 90 sessions of physical therapy, but she's taking her narcotics, so it's not wise for her to drive. She's on Medicare. She wants somebody from Medicare to come to her house. Will they do that?
So Medicare has really tightened the rules and regulations when it comes to home health care. Believe it or not, that was actually one of the biggest fraud cases in the history of Medicare. And it's been a few years ago. So they've put some major restrictions on it in the last couple of years. And the biggest one is that the length of time and how often they do it. So Medicare will only cover up to 21 days of home health care, and it has to be following a 3-night stay in a hospital stay. So if a person just needs home health care and they didn't have a hospital stay prior to that, they're not going to Medicare's not going to pay for it.
Wow.
So, and they also have to be deemed homebound, Jay. So I actually have an elderly lady that I work with down in Fairbury, Nebraska. She was receiving home health care, decided to go play some cards with some friends. Medicare found out, they kicked her off of home health care.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a sad situation.
Now, would that happen with a policy like this?
Great question, Todd. So with our policies that we use, a prior hospitalization is not required.
Nice.
So day one, if you need it, it's there as long as your doctor can prove that you need help with those 2 ADLs.
Now, does this policy we're talking about as well, does it mess with your medications? Does it mess with prescriptions? Does it have anything to do with people changing over medications?
Nope, nothing. Has nothing to do with medications. There's a couple ones that we offer. The one that we market that I'd say the most, you just can't be receiving home health care. You may be able to make sure you can do all your ADLs all by yourself, and you don't foresee yourself needing home health care in the next 60 days.
So the underwriting then, to get the policy, you don't have to be in stellar health like you do a full-blown long-term care.
One of the most simplistic ones I've ever seen.
Nice.
Yep.
That's a huge benefit. My own family, unfortunately, my dad was battling cancer and wasn't obviously feeling good after the chemo and all that junk. My mother was suffering from Alzheimer's, and Dad had been taking care of her himself at home when he wasn't feeling well. That was no longer an option, but because they know somebody in the insurance business, they had a plan that paid home health care, and we were able to, in a little tiny town in nowhere, Iowa, we were able to get a visiting nurse in and watch Mom, so Dad could get the care that he needed.
Awesome.
Now, Ryan, if somebody wants to get a hold of you individually, how can they go about doing that?
They can either give me, the best way is give me a call on my cell phone. My cell phone number is 402-525-4930, or they can always shoot me an email at my first little letter of my first name is R, and then it's Danekas, DANEKAS @asb.insure.
Nice. So tell us, how cool is it that when you started this, what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
5 years ago. Yeah.
5 years ago, that you would be on a radio show talking about what you do, talking about the worst day of your life, and building a house at the same time.
It's unreal. It's unreal how fast what we do is actually we help people, and that's what I actually love about the job, but we also get paid while doing it. Mm-hmm. Tosh and I talk about it all the time, is that we never saw ourselves being in the situation right now where we're at, specifically how fast it's moved. It's moved super fast, and it's all just basically hard work and dedication, and it's amazing.
Well, that's the truth. I tell all the new people when they come in, you will not believe how fast time flies in this job.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's holy cow, it's Friday again. Holy cow, it's Friday again.
Mm-hmm.
And that. So if someone's bored in their career, and I can't even imagine. I've doing this long. I can't even imagine going to the same place, the same time every day, doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
I'd last about an hour and a half, and I'd lose it. So yeah, this is definitely a rewarding and fun career, is it not? Yeah.
And how many people do we come across that are with us that say, I was just going to use this as a stopgap, just a part-time little gig, make a little bit of money, then I'll find something permanent. How many people have said that, and then are they still here?
Yeah, we have ran into that. It's crazy. I think, Jay, were you one of those
guys?
I
looked a lot like Jay.
One guy, one that I know. Darn good-looking guy though he was.
Yeah. And it's been a blast, hasn't it, Jay?
It's been an absolute ride, dude.
It's been fun seeing you grow and everything else, so it's been amazing.
Yeah, I'm very blessed to have an office full of winners like I do. It's unbelievable. Again, if you want to be part of that, 402-413-9846. Ask for Joyce Ann, our recruiter. Products, 402-614-9292. Facebook, American Senior Benefits Lincoln.
Ryan.